that's been loved. Took the get well sing cars and stuffed animals. Put the old ginger beer down the sink. Dad always told me, don't you cry when you're down. But Mum, there's a tear every time that I blink. Oh, I'm in pieces, it's tearing me up. But I know a heart that's broke is a heart that's been loved. So I'll sing hallelujah. You were an angel in the shape of my mom. When I fell down, you'd be there holding me up. Spread your wings as you go. And when God takes you back, he'll say hallelujah, you're home. Fluffed the pillows, made the bed, stacked the chairs up. Folded your nightgowns neatly in a case. John said he'd drive, then put his hand on my cheek and wiped a tear from the side of my face. And I hope that I see the world as you did, 'cause I know a life with love is a life that's been lived. So I'll sing hallelujah. You were an angel in the shape of my mom. When I fell down, you'd be there holding me up. Spread your wings as you go. And when God takes you back, you say hallelujah, you're home. You were an angel in the shape of my mom. You got to see the person I have become. Spread your wings and I know that when God took you back, he said hallelujah, you're home.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Lisa Nauman, and I would like to express to you that it is truly an honor and a privilege to be leading the service for you today. Before we begin our time of sharing memories and to prepare our hearts for the service, I'd like to ask everyone to take a moment of silence. Her laughter was better than birds in the morning. Her smile turned the edge of the wind. Her memory disarms death and charms the grave. Early she went to bed. Too early we saw her light put out. Yet we could not grieve more than a little while, for she lives in the earth around us and lights us from the sky. Family and friends, members of the community within the healing embrace of love, we have gathered here today to celebrate the life of Adrienne Godfrey. It is the death of our friend that has brought us together and it is her life which we wish to remember today. We are drawn here by our common love, our common respect for her, and our common grief. This is certainly an occasion for sorrow, but may it also be an occasion for thanksgiving, because we are thankful for the gift of life, and it has been a privilege that Adrienne had lived among us. Throughout our short time together today, we will experience a multitude of emotions as we recall our happy memories, experience our sad thoughts, and comfort one another in heartache. We are made to have relationships with one another. Some of them may be for a moment, a season, or a lifetime. But regardless of how long the relationship lasted, when a bond is broken, we do feel pain. And to facilitate the healing journey, let there be tears. For tears are not a sign of weakness, but rather a sign of pressing forward with courage through the heartache and grief that we experience on the journey of grief and loss. I have a poem for you. It's called Don't Cry for Me. Don't cry for me, I will be okay. Heaven is my home now, and this is where I'll stay. Don't cry for me, I'm where I belong. I want you to be happy and try to stay strong. Don't cry for me, it was just my time, but I will see you someday on the other side. Don't cry for me, I am not alone. The angels are with me to welcome me home. Don't cry for me, I have no fear. All my pain is gone. Jesus took my tears. Don't cry for me, this is not the end. I'll be waiting here for you until we meet again. Death is a very personal matter for those who experience it and someone close to them. But we are all concerned directly or indirectly with the passing of any individual. For we are all members of one human community, and not one of us is individual nor separate. When the partner of C.S. Lewis passed away, he explained to his friends and his family that the pain of her loss was not localized to one particular area of his life, but rather that it made everything about his life different. Our lives are different because Adrienne lived among us, and our lives are now different because she is no longer here with us. You see, we can look through the entire world and there isn't anyone quite like Adrienne. She will be missed. She still lives on in our memory, and though no longer a visible part of our day, she still remains a member of our family and of our circle through the influence she has had on us and the special part that she has played in all of our lives. Though some of the connections are strong and some may be light, each of us have been touched by the life of Adrienne in one way or another. She was a remarkable woman that was able to create meaningful relationships with just about anyone that she encountered. She was known for her thoughtfulness and consideration for others. Adrienne made it a priority to take care of everyone in her life by making sure that they were all content and happy. Her nurturing side was also fulfilled by her gardening, whether she was planting flowers or creating a vegetable garden. She loved to be out there, nurturing and puttering about. Her love for nurturing others and her desire to care for others was also expressed by her love for nature and the way that she was feeding the birds, whether she was at home or in the park. Adrienne also enjoyed taking pictures, She wanted to capture every single moment that was beautiful in her life. She didn't want to miss a single thing. She loved to sing and dance and keep her spirit light. She also loved reading books that inspired her to be the best that she could be for herself and for everyone around her. Now, Adrienne also displayed a strength of character. She treated others with respect. She was compassionate and caring towards herself and others, and this inspired those that she encountered on a regular basis. Life is broken and beautiful. Life consists of love, tears, laughter, and pain. And Adrienne embraced every last bit of this with strength of character. Yet she was not without her own struggles. She experienced hardships and losses of her own. However, she is a clear example of someone that continued to strive forward with life, regardless of the circumstances. Throughout her life, Adrienne refused to allow her hardships to define her. Instead, she demonstrated what true courage was all about. In addition to all of this, our lives have also positively influenced hers in many ways, each of us having enriched her life in a unique way, and for that, she will always be grateful. Adrienne lived a life of gratitude for the small things, and she did not take a single moment or opportunity for granted. She was thankful for everything that she had. There's so much that can be said about her life, and whom better to share in these memories than her family and her friends. And so now I have a letter to read on behalf of the girls. Adrienne's family is grief-stricken and devastated to lose their beloved daughter, mother, grandmother at such a young age. They are with heavy hearts, and she will be sadly missed to all who knew her. Adrienne was born in Hungary and came to Canada when she was 10 years old. Although she embraced her Hungarian heritage, she was a proud Canadian and very appreciative to live in such a great country. Adrienne was very giving and a loving person with a perpetual smile that would light up her room. She always placed others' needs first, ahead of her own wants and needs herself. She was a spiritual person who lived a very simple life. She placed her family and friends and others, She placed her family, friends, and others ahead of material things. Nothing was more important to Adrienne than her family. They were her whole world. Just recently, she requested a leave from her place of employment to take care of her mother, who had some health issues and required some help. Adrienne's undying love for her mother, Jolan, and father, Mickey, was evident to all who knew her. She spent countless hours enjoying their company and loved them with all of her heart. No one was prouder of their children than Adrienne was of her two girls, Stephanie and Ashley. If anyone would lend an ear, she would brag just a little about how wonderful they were and tell others what was happening in their lives. Adrienne's grandchildren, Michaela, Charlie, Colson, Gabriella, were also her entire world. And nothing made Adrienne more happy than spending time with them and them with her. She was forever with her camera, taking pictures of them to share with others. Her grandchildren loved their grandmother dearly, as much as she loved them. and they will miss her greatly. Our thoughts and prayers are with the family at this very sad time. And a poem titled Mum. If I could have only one more day, only one more, I would pick up the phone and tell you I love you. I would thank you for loving me unconditionally. I would thank you for helping me to be me. If I could have only one more day, I pray heaven is everything you dreamt it to be. I pray you're safe and free of pain and have met up with your loved ones. And I pray you have heard every word I have said. To my darling Mom, I will love you forever, so be safe until we meet again. One does not leave a funeral the same way as when one arrives. For it is at times like this, when we are faced with the reality of someone passing from this world, we reflect upon the life of the person that has passed, and subsequently, we reflect upon the significance of our own lives as well. We realize that our time is short and we seek purpose in all that we do. We then feel a sense of urgency within our hearts as we are inspired to engage one another in meaningful ways. We are inspired to reconcile the relationships in our lives that may have dissolved for one reason or another, or perhaps just to pursue our dreams and passions. But we can also rest in the knowledge that there's more to life than the short time that we spend here on earth. And if nothing else, this time of mourning and loss will inspire us to have gratitude for all that we have today. With that being said, I ask that we make a commitment to honor the life of Adrienne today. There's much that we have learned from the example of her life, and we ought to share those attributes with others. So let us agree today that the nurturing character that Adrienne has modeled for us, we will share with everyone that we encounter. Let us promise to imitate the positive characteristics of Adrienne so that we may keep her memory alive. And we can do so by walking through life, being kind-hearted toward everyone we meet. And now, let us commit Adrienne back to her final resting place. If you are able, please stand with us. To everything, there is a season and a time for every purpose on earth. A time to be born and a time to die. Here in this last act, in sorrow but without fear, in love and appreciation, we commit Adrienne back to her next spiritual journey. Into God's keeping, we commend our sister here departed. We commit her body to the ground, earth to earth, ashes to ashes, dust to dust. Now, having committed Adrienne's spirit to eternal rest and blessed her with joy, love, and peace, we now give her this traditional Irish blessing. May the road rise to meet you. May the wind always be back at your back. May the sun shine warm upon your face and the rains fall soft upon your fields. Until we meet again, may you rest in peace. You may be seated. Now this concludes this portion of the service. But I have a few short words for you before we make our way to the reception area. First, let us remind ourselves that those that have passed reside not in a grave or in an urn, but rather in the hearts and in the minds of the living. And I have a poem for you to reflect upon this truth. Feel no guilt and laughter. She'd know how much you care. Feel no sorrow and a smile that she is not here to share. You cannot grieve forever. She would not want you to. She'd hope that you would carry on the way you always do. So talk about the good times, the way you showed you cared, the days you spent together, and all the happiness that you shared. Let memories surround you. A word someone may say will suddenly recapture a time, an hour, or a day. That brings her back as clearly as though she were still here, and gives you the feeling that she is always near. For if you keep these moments, you will never be apart, and she will live forever, locked safely within your hearts.
Ladies and gentlemen, this now completes the service today inside the chapel. What originally was going to happen, we were going to have a reception immediately following, but Simcoe County has just been placed into the orange lockdown zone, so we cannot serve food or drinks. What we have done, the order of the food has been taking place and everything, so we have the food here. We've safely placed it into different Ziploc bags and stuff like that, so when guests are leaving the chapel, you can take a Ziploc bag of sandwiches and or dessert for the road, but that will complete the service here today inside the funeral home. If at this time I can ask those who are acting as pallbearers to please line up at the side doors. Thank you.
Melt like lemon drops away above the chimney tops.